when I see people people talking about other children, I just say you shouldn't do that. You see someone fall, and you just imagine how you would feel if you fell or were bullied. You want to help them.
Social emotional learning, to me, is the learning that goes on around the foundational skills that help people to be successful in life. And yes, academics are very important, and we focus on academics, absolutely. However, academics without the ability to relate to other people, self-awareness, the ability to plan and complete projects is not enough. And we know to be successful that our students need all of those social emotional learning skills as well, those competencies.
Social emotional learning, or SEL, forms the foundation for school, college, career, and life success. It's the essential element to all successful relationships. SEL is defined as the process by which kids and adults acquire key competencies to build self-awareness, such as knowing your values, strengths, and weaknesses, to regulate and manage emotions, to build social awareness, such as empathy, to build positive relationships, and to make ethical and responsible decisions. In Sacramento City Unified School District, we're collaborating with the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, or CASEL, to systemically implement social emotional learning across the district. Our goal is to systemically integrate SEL into instructional practices, embed into academics, expand beyond the classroom, and to explicitly teach the skills using evidence-based curriculum such as Second Step and School Connect.
My name is Michelle Blanton, and I work at Leataata Floyd Elementary, and here we really focus on our instructional practices aligned with social emotional learning. One of the things we found that is highly important is our relationships with students, and we work really hard to make sure we build relationships with them inside the classroom and outside of the classroom.
Social emotional learning skills are essential for student acquisition and access to Common Core learning standards. The standards call for students to be able to engage in math conversations, critique other people's work and thinking. And in order to do that, students need the conversation skills and conversation starters of how to appropriately agree or disagree or challenge or tell another student what the strength of his or her thinking is or the weakness of his or her thinking. So social emotional learning addresses those critical skills that allow students to engage in the kinds of learning conversations they need to have in order to be successful with the Common Core. Certainly without social emotional learning skills, math conversations won't go far at all. You can imagine a student just shutting down, being told their answer is stupid or that makes no sense, as opposed to understanding that you need to encourage through language by saying such things as, I see your point, but I'm not sure how you're arriving at this conclusion. Or part of what you say I agree with, but there are parts with which I disagree. Certainly the kind of conversation that ensues would be far different.
Students will be leading their own conferences, and it's super powerful as we're moving toward the Common Core standards that students are actually selecting their work that demonstrates their understanding of the standards, and then also selecting and keeping and tracking evidence of meeting the standards and also meeting their personal and academic goals. So they really have ownership for their learning process here at Centerville. On Monday mornings, we have a Monday morning meeting, and we talk about we work with the 7 habits of healthy kids, and we talk about one of the habits. Today was seek first to understand, then to be understood. And we talk about what that looks like in the school setting, and we have songs that we sing and to make it fun. And then our leadership council actually does announcements every day over the intercom and talks more about the 7 habits.
Don't let anything bring us down. We got to work together, change things around, proactive every day. Wanna take the time to remind myself that I am young and I am positive on the future. I'm gonna tell it like it is.
Is the key. Responsible decision making is where you're out in the community making good choices about our personal and our social behavior.
Is very important to me because I have a child with Down syndrome. He's in full inclusive practice, and without the SEL, I believe that he wouldn't know how to work through his problems or learn how to cope with his anger issues, deal with his problems, deal with any situation that he has here at the school with other classmates, teaches him to know how he's feeling, mad, angry, happy, sad, and I believe without it, he wouldn't know.
You find out that there's ways that they can communicate and say things that can not only diffuse the problem, practicing different methods that they've learned and what they can say, and we generate lists and which ones are positive and which ones are positively negative.
So at Oak Ridge, I know that a big philosophy that we have is that social emotional learning, well, academics is always obviously important. That's the purpose and fundamental reason why kids come to school. I would stress that social emotional learning is probably 51% important versus 49% academics. So slightly more important because as kids maneuver through the path of college and career bound and getting ready for future jobs and everything like that, it's how they are as people, how they interact with other students in their classes, apply for a job, all those things are social emotional learning is going to be the key ingredient that's going to help them be successful.
Second step, I learned that you could tell if somebody's if they're hurted by your words or not. Say if somebody's shriveling up and trying to move away from you, but trying to talk to you at the same time, that means that they're uncomfortable with you talking to them that way.
What I've learned is that if you're just standing there when you see someone getting bullied and you start laughing too, you're part of the bullying. But when you step up and say something to the bully, stop messing around with him or her, you're part of the solution.
Well, in this class, I learned how to handle conflict between, family, at home conflict, conflict between relationships with my girlfriend, and conflict in school, how to bring my grades up, and how to really apply myself in a really professional manner.
After second step, we see far less incidences of that. We find that students are catching themselves in situations where they have more power than they felt like they did before, or they're able to reflect on how they could have solved a problem differently, and that might not have been happening as often before. So we've definitely seen a change and improvement.
Well, it's helped me because I had a little sister, and I've been mean to her, I gotta admit, and when I learned the SEL skills, I try to put it in practice with my family, and what I've learned too from my teacher is that even though they're just your family, it doesn't mean you could still treat them bad. If they're your family, you should actually love them more.
I've always had a problem with teachers, but since I've joined this program, I have no problem talking to them and communicating with them.
Ideally, our students are going to go on to college and career things. Then they learn how to socialize with other people and be part of a team, be part of a system, so they can be successful and effective in life.
I truly believe that children and adults learn best when they know they're cared for and they feel supported and are given the tools they need to make that next step forward.